Hey guys, Sanity here and welcome to the channel. In this video I'm gonna give you 10 great weapons to have an easy playthrough, as well as where to find them. These weapons aren't glamorous, but they can be very powerful once you get used to their movesets. Do note that some of this footage are from New Game Plus. So starting off at number 10, we have Irithyll's Straight Sword. This weapon has the default moveset of a straight sword, with the difference of having a frost buildup effect, which only a few weapons have. Unfortunately, it can't be buffed or infused, but the frost damage makes up for it. It needs 12 strength and 14 dex to use. It also scales D both in strength and dex, but it will scale C in strength once it's +2. You can get this weapon by going down the elevator in Undead Settlement and killing the Outrider Knight just before Road of Sacrifices. At number 9 we have Estok. Estok is a piercing weapon with a quick moveset and thrusting attacks. Its special attack, Shield Splitter, can hit enemies while their shield is up. It also can be buffed and enchanted, and it scales very good with Sharp Gem, so it can become very powerful for a dex build. It requires 10 strength and 12 dex to wield. It scales D both in strength and dex. It scales A in dexterity with a Sharp Gem at +10. You can get this weapon by starting as Assassin or buying it from Greyrat after his first pillage. At number 8 we have Claw. Claw is a dual-wielding fist weapon with fast, high damage attacks. It can also be buffed and infused. It also has a bleed build-up, which gives Claw a big advantage. Its special is a leaping attack that hits with both blades at the same time. This one also scales nicely with Sharp Gem. It requires 6 strength and 14 dex to wield, and scales E in strength and C in dex. With Sharp Gem, dex scaling will become A at +10. You can find this weapon in the middle of the Toxin Pit in Consumed King's Garden, just before Osiris' boss fight. Next up at number 7, we have Butcher Knife, which unlike its name is an axe. Its moveset is like usual battle axes, but its heavy attack is unique. It also has a small lifesteal effect on every hit struck. Its special sharpens the weapon, increasing damage and lifesteal of the blade. Unfortunately, this weapon cannot be buffed or infused, but starts off with an incredible A scaling with strength that can also become an S scaling when hitting +10. You can get this weapon by killing the Madwoman NPC in Road of Sacrifices. At number 6 is the Black Knight Sword, which is actually a great sword, a heavy hitting blade, especially if you go for a strength dex hybrid build, as it scales off both of them. Its special is pretty good as well. It increases your poise and reduces damage taken significantly, allowing you to survive most of the attacks bosses throw at you. It also deals 20% more damage to demon enemies, but it cannot be buffed or infused. It scales D in both strength and dex. It also scales C in strength when it hits +4. When wielding it one-handed, it gets a slashing moveset, almost like a straight sword, which has more speed, but a bit less damage. This is mainly good for human enemies or bosses. You can get this weapon from behind an illusionary wall in Smoldering Lake on the ground. Sitting at number 5 is the Broadsword, which is a really good one as it has the highest damage in straight swords. It's light and fast. It can also be buffed and enchanted. The only thing holding it back is its range, as it has a very low range, but overall a really good weapon. It requires 10 in strength and dex to wield. It scales C in strength and D in dex. With a heavy gem, it scales A in strength. You can find this weapon at the very beginning area of the game in High Wall of Lothric, right after the Lothric Knight wielding a spear. At number 4 is the Exile Greatsword, which is a curved greatsword that has the highest damage in all curved greatswords, but also has the lowest range out of the bunch. Its moveset is fast and powerful as it swings the sword 3 times, causing a good amount of damage. It also can be buffed and infused. It is the heaviest curved sword out of all of them. It requires 24 strength and 16 dex to wield. Scales C in strength and D in dex. At plus 10, scales B in strength, and with a heavy gem, scales A in strength. You can obtain this weapon by killing Watchdog of Farron NPC wielding it right before Farron Keep bonfire. At number 3 is the Washing Pole, which has the highest range out of all the katanas in the game. It has 2 movesets, one parry and one sweeping slash attack. It also has a bleed build-up effect, which is really nice. It can be buffed and infused, and is overall very powerful. It also has the highest stamina cost of all the katanas, making it more efficient at late game. It requires 18 strength and 20 dex to wield. It scales D in both strength and dex. The weapon scales C in dex at plus 10 and A in dex with a sharp gem. You can obtain this weapon by buying it from the Shrine Handmaid after giving her the Easterner's Ashes. Sitting at number 2 is the Lothric Knight Sword, which is a straight sword that has a slash attack while one-handed and a powerful thrust heavy when two-handed. It also has 110 critical, which increases backstab and parry damage done. It has a fair range and can be buffed and infused. It requires 11 strength and 18 dex to wield. It scales D in both strength and dex. At plus 10, it scales C in both stats, and S in dex with a sharp gem, making it an outstanding weapon for a dex build, and A scaling with a heavy gem. You can get this weapon by farming Lothric Knights right at the beginning area of the game. Before we get into number 1 spot, here are some honorable mentions. And finally, for the number one weapon that most people probably know about, it's the Sellsword Twin Blades. These dual-wielding curved swords are the perfect combination of speed and power. They also have an extremely good moveset as well. They can be buffed and infused, and are overall what I think are the best weapons to have an easy playthrough with. Their special attack swings both the blades for a spinning attack that also has another follow-up. They require 10 strength and 16 dex to wield. They will scale E in strength and C in dex. At plus 10, they will scale B in dex and A in dex with a sharp jump. Basically, if you have these and know how to use them, it's pretty easy to play the game. They're called Sellsword Windblades for a reason. They are mainly used for dex builds, but you can play any of the builds with these blades. You can get these blades by starting the game as the Mercenary class, or right before the Abyss Watcher's boss fight behind the Black Knight. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.